I'm not necessarily talking about present company, because I know that you all love the Lord, excuse me, and you appreciate what next Wednesday is all about. But to so many people, Christmas has become an excuse to binge. Not just on alcohol, not just on food, but on spend, spend, spend. Now, I've got nothing against people spending money on other people. I've got no problem with people giving gifts. I love to give gifts and receive them. Although my daughter would probably say otherwise. No, that's not what I'm about. But there are so many people in this land and abroad who spend so much at Christmas that they are in debt for the rest of the year. And that cannot be right. That's not what Jesus came for. He did not come to this earth so that we every year could be in debt for the rest of the year. Someone said moderation in all things. And that is as true and as relevant at Christmas as at any other time of the year. And that is why what is going on in front of the town hall over this last week, 10 days, 14 days, however long it's been, 143 hours, is so important, because it's bringing that message forward to the people in Torquay that Christmas isn't all about tinsel. It's not all about giving the best present and receiving the best present that you can. It's about love, and it's about compassion, and it's about sharing with other people. As Brian said earlier on, there are so many people in this world today, and that just confirmed what I was going to say now, that are poor. They are living in destitution. They are living in poverty. The people in Syria, the people in Afghanistan, the people who have had their homes destroyed by hurricanes and floods and have nothing. Absolutely nothing. And here we are. And we're all guilty of this, myself included, in having a rare old party at Christmas and not giving them a second thought. But this Christmas, do give people a second thought. There have been so many adverts on the television recently about charities appealing for donations. Just text whatever to whatever and you can donate £5 and it goes onto your phone bill. It's not much. £5, £3, £10, even £19.50 as one of them is asking for. To help people, not just in this country, but throughout the world at this special time. I'm not saying that we should only give at this special time, no, but it can be part of our giving. These people need our help throughout the year, not just now. And we should remember that throughout the year. But that isn't really what I wanted to say. As so often, the introduction goes off on a tangent. And I don't really want to talk about Christmas. I don't really want to talk about the Nativity at all, which you may find rather odd. I want to go back 9 months or so, to the time when a young girl received a visitation from an angel. And that angel said, "You are going to bear a child. And this child will be the Son of God. And this child will change lives. And she said, "But how can this be, for I am a virgin?" And yes, she was. And the angel said, "The power of God, the Spirit of God will come upon you and you will conceive." That must have been incredible. How could anybody take that in? Here was a girl of what? I mean, historians say anything between 13 and 18. She'd been betrothed to Joseph, and betrothal in those days meant far more than our current engagement. An engagement can be broken off. A betrothal couldn't be broken off without an awful lot of kerfuffle. So how could she believe this? She and Joseph hadn't been together. They were still living in their separate family homes. How could she believe this? On her own, and yet she did. And what did she say? Exactly. May it be according to your word. She accepted it. She didn't know how it was going to happen. She accepted it. But how did she know that that angel that came to her was an angel? I mean, we have a somewhat sanitised vision of the happenings around here. We imagine Mary sitting demurely in a nice dress, for want of a better word, nice clothes, and the angel appears in a blinding white flash, white robes, wings on his back, a halo above his head. That's the sort of vision that we're presented with by the church as it was. But I prefer to believe that it was rather more, shall we say, rustic than that. And whether any of you have been watching the Bible on Channel 4 or Channel 5 or whatever it is on at the moment. Yeah. I didn't see it last night, it was far too late for me. But last week it was specifically, part of it was particularly this part of the Bible. And the angel appeared as a man in a red cloak with a hood. And there was Mary in her ordinary everyday clothes, stained, a bit torn, a bit ragged round the neck, as she would have been. She wasn't a member of the aristocracy. She was a member of a poor family. How difficult it must have been for someone in those circumstances to actually believe what an angel, a stranger, told her. But she must have known in her heart that what the angel was saying was true. Something rang true. And why did it ring true? Because she knew her God. She was a faithful Jewess. Why do we say Jewess? Why not just Jew? I don't know, sorry. But she was a faithful member of the Jewish community. She went to the synagogue regularly. She worshipped God in the prescribed way. And she believed with all her heart that the Messiah would come. Of course, there's the other person in this little scenario as well. What about poor old Joseph? Here he was, suddenly confronted with the girl that he was betrothed to, who was pregnant. How did he react? And again, I think we have this somewhat sanitised view that Joseph just rolled over and said, oh, well, as it, fair enough, if that's what you say. I don't buy that at all. I believe he was probably furious. How dare you? What have you been doing behind my back? I'm going to break this betrothal off. I don't care what happens to you and your family. I don't want you anymore. Do you think that's possible? It's certainly how I would have reacted. If my girlfriend had come in pregnant one day. And I'm sure it's probably what most of the men in this room would have had, the way that most of the men in this room would have reacted. So what made him change his mind? And again, we get the angel, don't we? We get the angel coming to Joseph in the middle of the night in a dream and saying, don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Joseph had a dream. Do you always believe what your dreams tell you? This must have been such a vivid dream. And it confirmed what Mary had been telling him, that she had been visited by an angel who had told her that she would become the mother of the Son of God. He believed her, and he, and he accepted her. And again, I refer back to that programme, the Bible on the television, how they portrayed that Joseph had a vision of the angel, and it was the same angel that had come to Mary in the red cloak and the hood. And his life in that instant was changed. And he ran to Mary, who was being hounded out by her friends and family, relatives, community, and being called everything under the sun and saying, get away, we don't want you here. What are you doing? You've done this dreadful thing. And they wouldn't believe her. And he just ran up to her, put his arms around her and said, I believe her, and I will take this woman as my wife. What a tremendous leap of faith that was. All because of the visitation of an angel. And we don't know when we're going to be visited or when we have been visited by angels. Can you say you've never seen an angel? Has a stranger never spoken to you? Someone that you don't know? Someone who said something pertinent? That could have been an angel. We don't know what they're going to look like. We have this vision of the, as I said before, of the wings on the back and the halo, but angels in the Old Testament didn't appear like that, did they? The angels who went to visit Lot, yeah, in Sodom or Gomorrah, I'm not sure which one it was. Sodom, there you go, thank you, Brian. They weren't recognised as angels. They just looked just like ordinary people, and they probably were just ordinary people. that they were messengers from God. And that's what an angel is, a messenger from God. So we should look out. And there were two other people who had visitations from an angel a few months earlier, 6 months prior to Mary having her visitation. Her cousin Elizabeth had had a visitation. And she'd gone through the same format. You know, you will have a son, and his name will be John, and he will be the forerunner of the Messiah. How did she take it? Don't be silly, I'm too old. And so's my husband. No, there's no way we're going to have a son in the first instance. But again, she eventually believed. And Zechariah, now he should have known better. Zechariah was a priest. Zechariah was one of the few people who could go into the Holy of Holies. He should have known better than to doubt what he was hearing from God. But he did. When God himself told him in that Holy of Holies that Elizabeth was going to have a son, he said, "No, how can that be?" So he was struck dumb. And that was his punishment, if you like, for not believing what God was saying to him. He got his voice back when he said his name is John, or when he wrote his name is John, his voice came back to him. So what is my message this morning? It's very short, Brian. Whatever it is. What is my message this morning? My message is twofold, I think. And that is, let's make this Christmas the Christmas when we remember those who are less fortunate than ourselves. And not just remember them, but do something positive to help them. It could be locally, it could be your neighbour next door who needs just that extra little word or two at this time. They may be lonely. Or you could feel that you want to give to one of the big charities. Or you may feel that you just want to do something locally to help somebody specific. It doesn't matter, but try to do something. And my second message, if you like, is to listen. Listen to what God is telling you. Listen out for angels, because you never know where they're coming from. Listen to what God is saying to you and do it and believe it. And that is how this church was started. I don't want to make Paul out to be something that he isn't, because he would be the first person to say that he is, you know, he said, "Why me?" But when God told him to start this church, he didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate. He did it. And everything that has happened in this ministry has been because Paul has listened to what God has been saying to him, and he has done it. the outreach down at Torquay. Okay, the council approached, but given the opportunity, Paul said, okay, Lord, what do you want? And he was given specific instructions about the trailer and how to make it work. He listened to what God was saying to him. And I know in my own life that there have been times when I've been in despair. Over lots of things. And I've listened to what God is saying. And as we were singing earlier on, through the storm, I will praise you. Because in the end, in the final analysis, God has the answers. He's going to see us through the difficult times. But we have to believe it. We have to listen to it. We have to accept it. We have to believe it. Even though, at times, everything conspires against us. I mean, I'm sure that certainly my daughter and I have those circumstances at the moment, without going into any details. Everything seems to be conspiring against my family. And yet I know in my knower, if you like, that God has got it under control. It may not be in the timing that I would like. In fact, it certainly isn't. But that's not my problem. That's God's problem. In my heart, I have given those problems to him, and it's now up to him to sort them out. Doesn't mean to say that I don't feel low at times. But I just have to say, Lord, it's yours. You deal with it. And then leave it up to him to sort out. So that's my message. Be a good neighbour.